like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners workshop meeting for May 8, 2024. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Stracco.
Here.
Commissioner Partha.
Here. I would like to ask our township engineer, Mr. Brian McAdam, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible.
We'll do that another time when there's a bigger crowd.
Good enough for me.
All right, is there a motion for approval of tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Partha,
Second.
second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. We can move forward. Citizens' comments. Citizen comment. Our next agenda is going to say raise comment corner. That's right. He has declined to make comment this evening, so we're going to move forward to our consent items. Is there a motion to move the consent items into the record?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lestracco. For the record, those are it's the police report for the month of April and the HTMA meeting minutes for March 12th, 2024. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Committee reports. Vice President Rogers for Planning and Zoning Committee.
Thank you. The first item is to begin the 18-month maintenance period for Bergey's Kia.
Yes. So if you recall, a couple of meetings ago, we certified complete the Monterey project on Broad Street. This is exactly the same, except it's for the Bergey's Kia on 309. The improvements are complete. We're comfortable with what was done. We feel like they've met the conditions of the development agreement, and we're recommending that the project be accepted and that it go into the maintenance period. So I presume that if the resolution is ready for the next meeting, it would be up for consideration. And I say it that way because there was some back and forth with the applicant's attorney regarding the maintenance escrow, and I'm not sure if that was, I didn't see anything saying that was resolved. Otherwise, I'm obviously confident that John and Kristen will have it together.
So we do not need to make a motion tonight?
No motion tonight, correct.
Okay, that's fine then. And yeah, this is a follow-up from what we previously discussed, and then we'll move it to our next meeting?
Yes.
Or actually, are we doing, our next meeting is going to be the second hearing, right?
We could do that item if it's not ready for tonight.
It'll take even less time than just now.
I
20
agree.
seconds.
Yeah, so we can do that. All right, so we'll move it to the next meeting.
All right, very good.
Okay. Yep, pretty much.
So the second item, I guess, is more of an announcement, the continuation of the conditional use hearing, May 22nd at 7:30 p.m.
All right, moving right along to Public Works Committee.
No report tonight, Mr. President.
No report tonight. Okay, then we're going to jump into Parks and Recreation Committee. Commissioner Lestracco.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Just some highlights. We're going to have outdoor pickleball. That's starting again this month, so take a look at that on our website. Also, International Day of Yoga. That'll be Friday, June 21st. Pre-registration is required, and that'll be at the Hatfield Arboretum. We also will be having Aqua Zumba. That will be back again, and you can also check that out on our website. One event that's pretty interesting coming up, not this weekend, but next weekend, is the Plant Exchange. That will be Saturday, May 18th, so please check that out as well. We'll also be having Move in May pop-up event, and that'll be a National Physical Fitness event, again, on May 18th at the School Road Park. Music Feast concert series, that's going to be coming up in June, July, and August. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope a lot of people can get out to that on School Road Park, at the School Road Park. Movies in the park, that'll also begin in June. We'll have one in June, July, one in August. Check that out. And then National Parks and Recreation Month celebration, that will be Friday, July 12th at 5:30 p.m. till 7:30 p.m. at School Road Park. a lot of activities there. And then we have Dash and Splash 5K that will be coming up Wednesday, August 14th at the Aquatic Center. And want to thank everybody for a great Earth Day, all the great Earth Day events, and thank you especially to Ashley, who helped put everything together, and our committee as well. So I think that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
All right, we have 2 action items that are Park and Recreation Committee related. The first is a motion to award the bid to A.H. Cornell and Sons in the amount of $1,187,432.40 for the Clemens Park Improvement bid, because that's the bid results. So why don't I take the motion, and then we'll have our manager explain. So is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrews, second by probably everyone. I think I heard Commissioner Partha. So Aaron, why don't you walk us through this one?
Sure. Thanks, Mr. President. A process that began probably 8 years ago with a master plan, with commissioners, with Mr. Masser served on the planning committee as well many years ago, has finally led up to this moment where we're in a position to award the bid. Just as a reminder, project will be, and again, this bid is for the site work, the electrical work, and the plumbing associated. Project will consist of the removal of the existing driveway, which runs through a basin for reasons that no one ever really explained. A new entry further down on Fairgrounds with some new signage, along with a trail that will be running parallel to the driveway. New parking lot that will serve both the playground and the park, as well as the Garden of Health, which is our nonprofit partner out there at Clemens Park. In addition, there'll be a playground in this location that will be for children of all abilities. It's considered a playground, not just for kids with certain abilities, but all abilities, so they can play with their siblings and friends and everyone of all. In this area will be the public restroom, which we'll talk about the next agenda item, and then some additional trails, as well as a connection, and thanks to Commissioner Partha, who has been helping us with relationships with our residents in this area. We'll be connecting a trail here to connect all the residents there into the park so they don't have to walk through people's yards. Have been doing so. Nice improvements, and finally seeing the work that we had planned for many years. So we're hoping tonight with the commissioners summer that the work can begin and it should be completed fall.
We have a kid who's going to be very interested.
Big part of the committee.
Only in high school at the time, and so now we're here. So we're gonna have some excitement even in in the youth. All right, any questions or comments? Exciting what's the timing sequence?
After tonight, we will meet with the low bidder. Notice to proceed will be issued with work to begin hopefully at some point June, July, and work would have to be completed by December is the contract.
December.
Yeah, so we should have we'll be having a groundbreaking at some point before the work begins, and then we'll have a ribbon cutting in the same year to celebrate our new park.
Okay, looking forward to that. All right, any questions or comments? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved, and they can get started. That's great. All right, part and parcel of that, though, is the second motion for approval, which is the purchase of the dual-family ADA restroom and storage building for $282,000 through CoStar's provider M&W Precast LLC. Is there such a motion? Motion by
Second.
Vice President Rogers, second by Commissioner Lestracco. I know why don't you explain?
Yeah, sure. So this is the bathroom that we'll be installing at Clemens Park. We referrals from many other towns that use this vendor, CoStar's vendor. So it's purchased through the state cooperative agreement. It's a prefab that's easy to install. It's cost effective and durable, and it will also have storage in the back as well for maintenance.
Had to have Wi-Fi?
We'll have Wi-Fi at the park and security cameras as well.
Good. All right, any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of the motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved.
Commissioners, before you jump to the next item, just a heads up that in the following either month or two, then we will also have our last agenda item, which will be for the purchase of the playground, which will also be purchased through a CoStar's vendor. Now that the bids were in, we have a better number that we can budget. So we're just going to finalize some of the details. And we have conceptually a plan because we've been working at this for many years, and we've met with feedback on what kids would like to see. When you ask kids what they want, the ideas are a wide range. So we have to stay within a budget. But,
I'm sure.
You will have that item hopefully on the agenda next month, and then.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to jump to public safety. Commissioner Partha.
Yeah, thank you. We have a couple of bunch of items. So police report. So on April 16, officer provided a ride to school for a Hatfield Elementary School. Students who won a ticket for the ride at a fundraiser. The second one is on April 19, some officer and township staff collaborated with North Penn YMCA and Manna on the Main Street in a spring cleanup details. On April 20th, officer participated in the International Spring Festival hosted by North Penn area, PAL. On April 21st, officers participated in Coffee with a Cop at Hatfield Giant. On April 27th, officer participated in the Drug Take Back Day from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. 170 pounds of unwanted prescription drug were turned over the county for destruction. On April 29th, our chief hosted a meeting between 14th Montgomery County Chief of Police and several NAACP chapter presidents from around Montgomery County. So we have a bunch of activities all over the April. Yeah, this is all about. Thank you, Chief. And I'm just surprised, like it's 178 pounds of unwanted drugs. Let's go back. There's destruction. This is I think like it's a good turn back, like in the drug not going in anywhere, and this is a good step. Thank you, Chief.
Good. Everything
good.
All right. Good report. Thanks, Chief. All right, Finance Committee, Commissioner Andrus.
Nothing to report.
Okay, we're moving right along to the Township Manager's report.
Thanks, Mr. President. Few items tonight for the board to consider. One is periodically, and some of the commissioners have been through this process before, we have cable franchise agreements with both of them, just like every other community does in the area, Comcast and Verizon. The agreement allows the cable providers the access to the public right-of-way for its for some of its equipment and lines and poles and such. We've been going through a negotiation process. We participate through the consortium, where the consortium hires an attorney that specializes in communication law, and both in front of the board for consideration. The language is essentially the same as it had been. Keep in mind, both have grants associated with them, so just like the initial agreements signed, and Verizon, especially since for a while Comcast was the only major cable provider in the area until Verizon came with its fiber Fios product, which helped pay for a lot of the equipment in here. So now that it's been 10 plus years, as we renew, there are grants that will be given to the township to upgrade some of our equipment. So these microphones that a lot of our residents complain about that they can't hear us when we upgrade some of our equipment. Justin's working on that. Upgrades that were needed, the timing worked out. Everything else stays essentially the same. So it's a 5-year agreement with Comcast, which is the only term that they allow, and it's a 10-year with Verizon. So the grants are calculated because of the length. So you'll see that the Verizon grant is roughly double Comcast. So they're essentially the same. Both cable providers know what the other one is doing. So very similar to what it has been. But the attorney that we acquired years ago does audit just to make sure all of the the funds were coming in properly and everything that was abided by in the agreement. Probably noticed over the years that we'll continue to see the trend of the franchise fees that have come to the township have significantly decreased over the last 10 to 15 years because of the trends of cord cutting and people being less reliant on traditional cable. So I'd imagine that will continue. And if eventually providers don't need public right-of-way, that will be a loss of roughly $400,000 annually. Hatfield, multiply that across every other town in Pennsylvania. So that significant revenue that would have to come up with, but the trend has certainly been declining. I'd imagine that will continue. So I don't know when that'll end, but it's going to end.
So that is our future a little bit. So, but for now, we need a motion for approval, right?
Please.
All right, so is there a motion for approval to approve the cable franchise agreement renewal that was just described with Verizon and Comcast?
So moved, or second?
Motion by Commissioner Lestracco, second by Commissioner Andrus. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Heading to the next topic. Everyone's familiar with this topic. Good news, we're moving forward with the acquisition project. And you remember last month we had Rick Newberry here that was leaving Hatfield and moving to Hatfield. He is in the Red Star there. So that has been acquired. We've settled on the property. Township now owns the property. We are now moving forward, and what's on the agenda tonight are the two green shaded properties. So it'd be these. Both of those are on your agenda to acquire. One is 100% FEMA funded. The other one is funded through the stimulus funds that we received through the federal government. So both federal funds coming to help us acquire the property. So settlement on those should be at some point next week. Next month, at the June meeting, we'll have the last one on. Just got a house under agreement. And she, Ms. Boros, who lives in that home, tried desperately and made probably 10 offers on homes within Hatfield, but they're moving out to Telford. So they just kept getting outbid. It's a tough market right now. I have 3 after this, 1 more to go, and so far the process has gone smoothly. Thank you. And by the end of summer, fall, the homes will be down, and they'll be.
Great. So, and this first one is the condemnation that's necessary in order to move forward for just the one house,
Right,
the
so
one location.
You'll notice the one will be, we're going through a condemnation process, and that's because this is not the FEMA one. FEMA was paying for all transfer tax, and FEMA did not allow for condemnation to occur. For those of you new with the process, this is in John's office, friendly condemnation. This is we're having agreed upon sale, which allows us some flexibility and some benefits that can help the township and the seller.
All right, so before us is Resolution 24-15. Is there a motion for approval? By Vice President Rogers, second by Commissioner Andrus. Any questions or comments? The resolution, like I said, 24-15, it's for the condemnation and acquisition of 465 Sharon Drive. Questions? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. The next 2 motions, I'll just take them now. Unless you think, is there anything else? Okay. So next is a motion to approve agreement and authorize township manager to effectuate all documents associated with the transaction, which is an agreement for sale for 465 Sharon Drive in the amount of $423,500. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lestracco. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. All right, our last motion for the evening is a motion to approve acquisition and authorize township manager to effectuate all documents associated with the transaction for the acquisition of 2740 Lenhart in the amount of $423,500. Is there such a motion? Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lestracco. Questions or comments?
Based on, praise value, just a coincidence.
Any other questions? Ray, anything? With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. All right. Mr. Township Manager, anything else?
That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
All right, we're going to,
This project.
well, yeah, let me take a step back for a second. Our Township Manager keeps thanking the commissioners for their support, but he's been really the driving force in getting this done for all 4 of these properties, so can't thank you enough. And I know that this is a big deal, not just in the transaction and the work that's being done, but for these 4 families, you're literally changing their lives. So you deserve quite a bit of credit for this, and we thank you for it. All right, Mr. Solicitor, anything in your report for this evening? All right, that's always good to hear. Nothing quiet. Solicitor is a good solicitor. I'm surprised after all these years.
Couldn't have been said any better.
I was gonna say, after all these years, you didn't come up with that catchphrase. Something tells me that's going to be your new catchphrase, though.
Get you a T-shirt that says
Right
that.
behind, we're going to put it, it's going to be on a nameplate right there. So, all right, citizens' comments. Ray, anything for the good of the cause? All right, no citizens' comments, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrews, second by Vice President Rogers. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.